Hello, my name is Frank Buckholz. I'm the North Langley Regional Director for the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is doing videos this election season with candidates for the City and Township of Langley Councils. David Stingl has joined us. David is running for a term on Langley City Council. Welcome, David.
True story. Thank you.
And just tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to run for council.
For sure. I am a small business owner in downtown Langley. I decided to run for city council because I got mad because we lost the car show. That's the truth. That's where it started for me. And I was just, I had a couple of terse conversations with some, the mayor and some members of city council, and then just went, that's it, I am running. Since then, I mean, it's been one of those. It's been one of those things where I mean, just you get a lot thrown at you. As a business owner, I think what makes it, for me, I mean, what the difference between a business owner and sometimes a person who chooses to have politics for a living or a career politician is that I feel like, as a business owner, I get presented with problems every day. And you get some problems, here's some more information about those problems, and then you actually try to fix them. And I feel like sometimes there's a reluctance in politics or in cities to sometimes fix things, and it goes for longer periods of, it just seems like, how's this going to affect my chances of re-election? Not my concern.
Okay. Well, you've given us a very succinct reason why you run. You kind of reminded me of that guy in that movie years ago. So I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it.
I mean, it's funny because I understand that you're not supposed to make campaigns about negativity.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really I'm careful, but the truth is, I think it's okay to run because you're frustrated.
Yep.
I think it's
Absolutely.
okay to look at things and go, you know what, we've got just for Langley City itself. I mean, we've got the crime stats they're just unbelievable. I mean, the Plains magazine did an article in 2017 on the top 100 dangerous cities in Canada. I'm sure you're familiar with this. We wound up number 6. So we're number 1 in terms of property crime and break-ins. We're number 3 in all of Canada. We have more boots on the ground in terms of police, I think, than just about anywhere else in Canada. I mean, it's crazy. So what we're doing right now is not working.
Okay. Well, let me ask you about a couple of issues.
Sure.
You mentioned business. You're a business person, and you're a member of the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce, and we're happy that you are. And as a chamber, we represent business, and we want to see that the business community is treated well by council, that there's a good atmosphere for businesses to grow and thrive, and that young entrepreneurs can start businesses. What would you do as a member of council to make sure that that environment is a healthy one for business?
I mean, and this is, I just want to be really clear. I mean, I'm getting posters in a lot of the businesses, the downtown core. I think it's imperative that you actually have, not necessarily a retail business, but actually a business owner on the council. I think we have a lot of councils throughout the Lower Mainland where you've got, there's nothing wrong with these things, but you've got, you've got realtors and you've got developers and you've got, people. And I think sometimes we forget that having a business person that actually, runs something day to day on a regular basis that goes, well, how's that actually going to affect the business owner? When we make these plans, I think it's imperative that we do that. So I feel like it's one of the reasons that I'm getting some of the traction that I am is because some of the current council members haven't been able to connect with the businesses and the business core in Langley as well as they'd like to have, and I think that I'd be a great voice for them.
Okay. We talked before we started the tape about transit, and you mentioned that you like the idea of SkyTrain, and that's certainly something that in the city has been getting quite a bit of discussion. I grew up in Langley. I mean, I was born in technically Abbotsford actually, but I grew up in Langley in Aldergrove. But one of the things in my life that I've done is I lived in Calgary for 13 years, so I'm really familiar with LRT. I want to be clear that I think it's important we get good transit down here, and so I'm willing to absolutely work with what I wouldn't get. But I mean, if you were trying to pin me down and say what do I think would be ideal, I think SkyTrain would be excellent. And one of the reasons for that is because we're not just Langley. There's Langley City, there's Langley Township, there's Surrey, and I think when we look at things like tourism, people don't come to Vancouver to go to Langley. They come to Vancouver to see Vancouver. It's like when you go to New York, you know, you're not going to see New Jersey, you're not going to see, you know, you're going to see New York. And I think that things like SkyTrain just would be tremendous throughout the entire Lower Mainland. And so I would just like to see it done right the first time, as opposed to these little tiny, like, you know, you got buses here and you got LRT over there, and you know, I would love to see something where we actually have this cohesive network that actually seems to work well with each other.
Okay, and the one other issue we want to ask you about is housing, and particularly affordable housing. The city has a lot of affordable housing now, lower rental properties compared to many other parts of the region. A lot of that housing stock is old, maybe redeveloped. What can the city council do to preserve good affordable housing for people who have lower incomes, and perhaps add social housing for those who need it?
You know, the issue of housing and even the homeless issue and addictions and some of the stuff that we're seeing in downtown Langley, excuse me, I'm going to cough. You know, this is a really complex issue. I mean, I know that there's cities in Canada, and I'm going to address this in kind of a roundabout way, just so we, you know, but I'm going to come back to the core. There are cities in Canada and communities in Canada that are smaller and larger that have fixed their homeless problem. I mean, we look at areas like Medicine Hat, 3 years running, 4 years running, something where they've actually, you know, and it was not a small feat. I mean, 1,300 people, you know, got housed, or you know, if my number's correct. So I think it's important to recognize that there's, you know, there's elements of the community, and there's like many. It's a complex issue. There's many sides to the community. There are people living in the community who are working 50, 60 hours a week and can't afford the homes that they're in now. Yeah. And they're looking at the issue going, well, how come this guy can't seem to get his crap together, and you're just going to give him a place to live, and I can't even afford the one that I'm in. So, I mean, this is an incredibly complex issue. What I can say is that as a member of the community, as a member of the business community, and as a member of Langley, I cannot just sit by and do nothing. I can't pretend that it's completely a provincial responsibility. I can't say that it's just a federal responsibility. If people are homeless in Langley, that should be something that we're actually trying to fix. And I'm absolutely looking to. I think for me, a good solution will be to work closely with the township, the city of Surrey, Maple Ridge, and I think if all of us as neighbors and neighboring communities are doing the same thing, no one city becomes the destination.
Okay, thank you very much, David.
You're welcome.